Well, now it's time for a special edition of the Ron Johnson Show. Now, this person, everybody in Minnesota knows her. Everybody in the world now knows her. Courtney Cronin from ESPN is going to join me today on the Ron Johnson Show special edition. Vikings versus Bears, and nobody is better to talk about that. But you guys, if you guys seen Around the Horn, if you've seen Get Up, if you've seen First Take, if you've seen, and then I heard there's something new called Vibe Check. If you've seen any of that, this young lady, Courtney Cronin, has been all over it. And I want to feel like I'm a small piece of her humble beginnings. We used to do some small little shows here in Minnesota. And Courtney and I have shared some funny moments. I won't say names, but Courtney, you remember a show we did together. Producers in our ear saying, okay, you each have 1 minute to close out the show.
Yes.
And the person just talks the way through the show, and you and I look at each other like, okay, I don't think we all were on the same page with that 1 minute left for each of us to say something. So, and the show just ended, and we just looked at each other and kind of laughed. And so I'll never forget that. That's one of those things that one day, I don't know when, but I am going to definitely roast. I got some celebrity roast type stuff like that, where I was looking at Courtney like, did that just happen? Did we literally just sit here for 3 minutes and say nothing, and we didn't even get our way? But Courtney Cronin, man, thanks for joining me. First, I want to say you moved on. You were in Minnesota. You moved on to Chicago. We've talked about this before, but walk us through kind of that decision. Like, were you excited to go back home? Is that something you always wanted to do? I mean, you were already working for ESPN, but what was that like? Was it tough? Leaving Minnesota and taking a leap of faith going back to Chicago?
Yeah, thank you for having me, first and foremost. I do miss our Thursday night Vikings preview on Fox 9. We had so much fun with those. I learned a ton. Like, we were breaking down film. It was cool. We had PA on there with us. Dawn was on there with us. We had a good time. I definitely miss those days. But as far as, I looked at my calendar the other day, and like, you obviously know like what day, what month, what year it is, but it's like, wow, 2025. Like, I left Minnesota in March or late February 2022 to come here. And this is my 4th season covering the Bears. Like, that is such a staggering thing for me to think about, because like, I covered the Vikings for 5 years. I've covered the Bears now. So it'll be my 4th season. That's 9 seasons in the NFC North. And I am very grateful for it. This has been an incredible opportunity to be home. And I am now covering, the week 1 opener is so cool because it's both of my teams that I know intimately, and certainly have always kept up with the Vikings since I left. But it's been great. It's been awesome. And I love being here. I'm glad that you guys are coming down for Monday Night Football. The world getting to see Caleb and JJ go head to head, and a new head coach in Chicago, Kevin O'Connell. Can he do it for a 3rd time with a 3rd quarterback? Like, there's so much intrigue here, which makes me very grateful that I get to be, one of many people who are a part of it and covering it.
And both teams, offensive guards are new. You look at the Minnesota Vikings now, adding Donovan Jackson from Ohio State, which Randall McDaniel talked about him. I tweeted. I was the first one, so I've put that out there before. I'm definitely going to do it on this pregame show on a Monday night. I was the first person to tweet about Donovan Jackson. One, I had a little intel because I'm in the Big Ten, so I watch Ohio State football a lot. Two, I also talked to Larry Johnson's dad. I don't know if you know that. He's the coach for Ohio State. So Spice Adams, your guy, Spice Adams out there in Chicago. And so we were talking about that offensive guard, blah, blah. And he's like, man, this kid is fast. He's athletic. So I kind of joke and tweeted out like the Vikings' newest guard could potentially be a kid that runs 20 miles an hour. And then the Vikings draft him. Fast forward, I talked about Tooney. Or is it Thuney or Tooney?
Tooney. Joe Tooney.
I talked about Tooney because the Vikings were looking for a guard. So that was named Jonah Williams. Those were names that were jumping out there. And, of course, the Bears get both of them. Vikings get Donovan Jackson. They also have Christian Darrisaw back healthy. This is one of those games, Courtney, and I don't know if you get these. I get goosebumps with these type of games because it's so much talent on both sides. Like, people can hate all they want on Caleb Williams and what they think. But Ben Johnson, I've watched him in Detroit for years. You have as well. He's a smart guy. And Kevin O'Connell kind of has that same aura about him. Like, he's not out there aura farming like that little kid on the boat. But he has a ton of aura when it comes to just getting the right guys in the right place. And I'll ask you this question. When you look at this Monday night game, is it closer than people because I know they're saying the Bears are now a 1 point or 1.5 point favorite. But do you think it's that do you think it is that close, or do you think this is more of just Vegas trying to pump the numbers up?
I think the circumstances, even though they feel different, will probably yield a close game because you've got Caleb's a young quarterback. JJ's a young quarterback. JJ has been in a system for a year now, hasn't played in a real NFL game. Caleb is now in a new system, but has already played 17 games. So it's like the experience factor for Caleb, it feels like, okay, yes, he's in a brand new offense. He's had a lot to learn. This offseason has been up and down. There've been days where it's looked like a mess out there. There's been days where it looks like he's putting it together. Whereas with JJ, he's in the same system that he has been learning behind the scenes and rehabbing in and the whole thing, but he doesn't have any actual snaps in it in a real game. So I think that, that factor alone between the quarterbacks and where things stand with them is the reason it's probably closer than, we might think, but at least like the way that the line has moved. But there's, the matchup here and some of the injuries that affect the matchups. The Bears secondary injured, the Vikings wide receiver core injured, and having to bring in new pieces, or rather, new pieces, familiar faces. I love seeing Adam Thielen coming back and getting traded last week. I thought that, just given what he did for Bryce Young's career, he's already worked out with JJ throughout the summer. Like he is. I was very happy for his sake to see that hopefully this is his last stop. He gets to retire a Viking. He clearly, taking the pay cut, wanted to come back badly. And I think it's going to be good in the short term and the long term. But I think just based on those two things right there, when everybody's got some sort of knock against them right now, whether it's health, whether it's depth at those positions, I think that that's the reason you're looking at a matchup that feels more evenly matched than completely one-sided.
Yeah, and when you think about, and so let's transition a little way about football. We'll go back to football because I got I'm putting you on a hot seat. We got some questions for you later. But tell me about what's going on with Courtney. Like, what's going on with Courtney Cronin? Because I know, you were around the horn legend. You were killing it. Like, that's like in my office right now, I got my stuff set up, and then also have my work stuff when I got to do my real job. Also, too, I got 2 jobs. As a lot of people know, I sell apparel and uniforms to colleges and high schools and corporate companies. I do stuff like this with Unreal, the wearables. But then also, my Saturdays and Sundays are Gophers and Vikings football. And then my Monday night, hopefully, my Monday night fan line is happy. I don't have to deal with people pissed off and I got to talk everybody off a ledge because I've become a therapist. I guess a lot of people are starting to say in Minnesota, like I'm like literally a girl at the state fair. She was like, yeah, my dad said that you stopped him from jumping off the roof or something. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I think your dad's joking, first of all. But you know how it is, Courtney. Come on now. Yeah. These fans are crazy. Like, they live and die by the Minneapolis Miracle. Like, it is just absolute fandom. This is the time of the year where a lot of wives and a lot of husbands don't see their wives. Like, wives are into football. So, if the Vikings and Taylor Swift are on TV, and I'll ask you about that in a little bit, you're not seeing your family for a while. It could be either or. Football is not a one person in the household. I know a lot of husbands in my neighborhood that don't watch football. I'm baffled by it, but, they don't. They love tennis. They love golf. That's their thing. And on the other side, then I see their wives want to come over, like, hey, what do you think about JJ McCarthy? I'm like, oh wait, you're the football person in the house. So it's interesting to see that, the change. But let's go to you. You're doing now what, Vibe Check? Explain what is that?
So ESPN, when we did the direct to consumer launch, and even before that, Disney Plus launched a sports show called Vibe Check, and it's women led. It goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It was billed as this is a place where we can talk about things that are you have a little bit more runway to do it, whether we're talking about the US Open, whether we're talking about college football, the NFL, WNBA. It puts it all in one place. And there's only there's me, there's Elle Duncan, there's Shanae Agumake, Hannah Storm, it's Monica McNutt. It's been a nice rotating cast of people that I normally only see in Sports Center and only see in these very bite-sized windows. Now we have a chance to catch up and to talk about things and to have nuanced conversations. So I've really loved it. It's been a fun summer doing that. It's been busy. I'm very tired, but I enjoy it. I enjoy getting a chance to expand my portfolio a little bit of things that I can do and that I like to do. And, it's definitely a balancing act when you cover the NFL and when you cover a team that's got a lot of intrigue. going into the first week of the season. And, it'd be good for business if everybody's good, but obviously that's not going to be the case, all across the NFL. So it's trying to like prognosticate that and, cover the league at large, but also pare down and drill down on the NFC North and, your teams. So it's been really good. I've enjoyed it. It's probably one of my busier off seasons, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, I know Pat McAfee, he does the reach out every once in a while and gets people on the horn. So, hey, I know it's all women's cast, but if you ever need to get somebody on the horn just to talk Taylor Swift wedding from a man's perspective, feel free to reach out to me. I would. Oh,
you're locked in on that.
Yeah. I'm locked in, and I'm locked in from a different perspective, though. Like I'm locked in more so of, like, I get it, but I also don't get it. Like I don't get. Like I do understand everybody's excited for Travis Kelce, and now it's real. But like, is it real? Like, are we gonna sit here for the next 5 years and really think that this is gonna work? Because like I know Travis Hunter and his girlfriend, people, or wife now, baby mom, wife with kid, family. People are waiting for like the other shoe to drop. There's all this, like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, we know his story, what has happened with him. What was it, 17-month marriage?
I don't know if he's had that many marriages. He probably has that many kids, but
his marriage only lasted for 17 months for this newest lady.
So the lady that he was on, what was it, Wags to Riches,
something like that. And they're divorced. Yeah. She got a kid. She had to give him $500,000. He had to give her $500,000. Plus, he has to pay like $50,000 a month, and she has to pay for the mortgage for like a $5 million mansion.
Damn.
And he only was married to her for 17 months. Right. So, like, I mean, Travis Kelce, if he gets divorced, I think she has to pay him.
Do you think they're going to get a prenup? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, when you are two people of that magnitude, and he makes millions of dollars, and he's made millions of dollars.
But she's a billionaire.
Yeah, hopefully for his sake, he's invested well. But like, she's the breadwinner here.
Correct.
She's the global superstar. So I'm very curious. Like, does she make him sign a prenup? Does he want to sign a prenup? Like, the financials behind this, they're both wealthy, but like, there's one that's a very clear. The breadwinner here in the pecking order. I'm very curious about their financials, which are none of my business by any way, none of any of our businesses, but I just think it's because J-Lo
is still paying for her previous marriages. So
how many of them? All of them? All 5 or 6?
I think 3 at least. I'm pretty sure A-Rod doesn't count because she didn't. Ben Affleck probably doesn't want anything from her. He was probably happy to get away.
Yeah, for a second time.
I don't know what she does, but she does something well, because to go back and know what you're getting yourself into, to circle the block, and then you're like, yeah, this is what I thought it was. She didn't change. So, because A-Rod has made comments about it, and what I'm hearing is just that she's like about J-Lo, which is fine. Like, you can be about yourself. Like, it just probably doesn't work in a relationship when you're all about you and you can't lose arguments. It's all your way or the highway. Like, that's not gonna. And for a man, like, that's why like men can't do that either. Like, I hate when I hear dudes say that. Like, oh man, we do it. All right, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. One of you got to give in, and trust me, it better be you, because it's more likely. But I got 2 daughters now too, so that's the other reason why I'm at a point in my life where I'm waiting for 3 people to tell me what they want for dinner. Like, because I don't know why. I don't know if you guys are born like this or, but like, it's just like.
Hey, don't let me into that. I'm decisive. I know exactly.
You know what you want to eat right away.
Because I can take care of myself. But no, I mean, I think it's the teenager element that you have there with your athlete daughters who are probably constantly starving because they're burning 1,000 million calories a day. And kids don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they don't want. So you got to give them options.
Oh yeah, we do. We call it. I grew up in a household. My mom used to call it every man for themselves. So when I turned 17. And my sister was 16. We both could drive. And she would, like, we would say, what's for dinner? And she'd say, every man for themselves. Meaning, I don't have time to figure out what you two want. Go get it. Like, you can make it yourself. You can drive and go get it yourself. But you both have a car. You can drive. I'm doing this. And so now I've kind of told, like, when my mom visits and, they get to hear Yaya tell stories about that. So now my kids actually like that, where my wife hates it. She's like, I do not want to go to 3 different places, but I'm like, hey, look. Like, we don't have to deal with arguments. She wants this. She wants, because there's the thing too. When I was a kid, and I don't know if you were this, like, do you remember asking for like salads and crisp and green and acai bowls and yeah?
We didn't have all that. We had McDonald's, pizza, and even like Chipotle started coming on in high school. So
right for you, not for me.
That was the athlete spot. After soccer practice, after all that, we'd go there because, you know, it was a lot less expensive than it is now. But yes, kids are bougie now. Kids have too many options, which is why I think you got to limit it. Like, give them 3 options and make them pick from that.
I might have to try that. Yeah, my kids are like crisp and green, acai bowls, you know, like, which is healthy. I'm fine with that. It's healthy choices. Like, I'm not like, because we don't do McDonald's, we don't do Burger King. Like, we try to stay away from like fast food, especially Burger King, McDonald's. Nothing against them. We just like you said, it's athletes and fuel and kids and whatever. But I actually, this too about ESPN. When you were around all these shows, right? What's kind of been the one that you're like, okay, I'm on this show today, I'm excited?
The lame answer here is all of them, because when you put that much prep into it, you want to kill it every single time. You don't want to like show up and be like, I'm going to give this a C+, B- effort. Like, that's just not how I'm wired. But it is neat when you see the shows that are, you know, the morning ones. So First Take, Get Up. When people see, like, that's on in every office and every dentist office and every, you know, doctor's appointments, gyms, all of that. Like, it's where it's the first thing people see in the morning. So you want to bring a lot of energy. You want to bring knowledge. You want to bring something that like keeps people tuning in and keeps people locked in. And I've always enjoyed getting to do that. And I've enjoyed getting to be more in a host role the last couple of years too, like really honing in on my hosting abilities, like more than just being an analyst. And I really enjoy that. Like, that's something where I would, you know, very much over the next couple of years, like to do more of that.
So you don't have to say what show, but have you had like a Skip and Shannon moment where there's a show or a person where you're like, this person's on the show today? Like,
yeah, of course. You know, everybody has that. I will not say who, obviously, but like, there's been days where it's like, damn, okay, got to bring it today because, you know, I'm gonna be challenged, and usually it's a good thing. Usually it's something that challenges you and makes you like dig deeper with like your intel, with your takes, with how you're gonna position an argument. But yeah, everybody goes through that.
Because that's the funniest. And on your bingo card, and this is the sad thing for me, and that's why I stay out of this. Ray Lewis is my former teammate. Shannon's my guy. Like, I did not have Ray Lewis and Shannon Sharp falling out on my bingo card. Like, I do understand, like, that's why my podcast, I stay sports. I'm not getting into the drama. I'm not getting into the gossip. Like, whenever
we were just talking about Tyreek Hill and his baby mama, so I think that you may.
But that's different, though. That's different. That's different. He got a divorce.
It's sports related.
It's sports related. He got a divorce. All I said was he got a divorce. I didn't say he did anything wrong. I just said he got a divorce. It's out there. He paid her. It is what it is. Like, and again, back to the prenup. Maybe there could have been a prenup there to maybe stop some of that. I'm more so of saying like you know how it is, like the gossip stuff and all that. Sure. And so of course Ray is not happy with Shannon, the way Shannon's going about his business. Did you see that coming? Like, I don't think anybody had Ray Lewis getting out there in a public beef in 2025.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, like, that's kind of like those like don't meet your heroes sort of things, because then you like people who you grew up idolizing that you thought were like tight with each other, then all of a sudden fall out. I mean, it's natural, it happens, but like I don't know too much about it other than like just the stuff I've seen like on social media. But yeah, eventually I think people put stuff aside and bygones end up becoming bygones, and you end up moving on from that.
Yeah, because I mean, I've talked to Ray before back in the past, and I know he's taking a path. And I was in Baltimore right after everything happened. And so I was drafted to that team. And so I heard the stories and I heard all the stuff. And, you know, we had Deion Sanders come into our building 2 years later. And so so you see all that, you know, you see everything. And I know where Ray's coming from, because he's trying to, you know, change his life, be a man of God, push men to the right way, you know, be respectful to women, which is all the good stuff. And the toughest thing I think for people is that when people change, for the better or for the worse, whatever, people struggle with letting go of their past. You know, I think a lot of people always want to bring up the past as if like that's your present, that's your future, you know, and it's like, no, I don't have to be that person I was 10 years ago. I don't have to be that person I was 5 years ago. I was just talking to somebody about that. And I'm not going to say who within the Vikings organization. And we were just saying how things have changed. People have changed. You know, people have been becoming really vindictive, petty. And I mean, you see some Instagram stuff of what's going on. So it's interesting. Like, just like I stay to myself. Like when I went to training camp, I stayed to the side, you know, like I was like, I don't want to be, you know, and thank the Vikings this year. I was a team person, so I was able to go on the sideline. I was able to stand by the coaches. I was able to, you know, and within that, of course, There's non-disclosures. I couldn't say certain things. I couldn't say what happened with certain players. I couldn't, because I was in the building. But I just know it's just different. It's just a different feeling. Like, and maybe when you come around, if you get a chance to come back, you'll see it's just different now. It's not the same what it used to be, which is, I think, not a bad thing. I think people are taking it as a negative. And I think it's like, no, this is what it should look like. This is how it should feel. Guys should be walking around, handshaking, talking, and, it shouldn't be the weirdness and the, like, I can't look at coach. I can't talk to coach. Like, it's just people just don't understand it. It's good for me because everybody's my age, like all the coaches, Keenan McCarthy, but it's just interesting. Like, I stood around Keenan, and Aaron Jones. I forgot who else was standing there by the Gatorade station. We were there for like 15, 20 minutes. All of a sudden, security comes down. And I think the security guard probably didn't recognize me on the camera. So they, because now they have this new facial thing too that we have to do. And, he's just looking. And all of a sudden then Tatum had to come say, oh, no, that's Ron. He's fine. But it's just one of those where it's like, do you really think these coaches are going to be sitting here talking to a random, for 20 minutes? Like, come on. And so I think that's where people get a little caught up too. It's like they just feel like it's not the same as it was before. It's never going to be the same. It's never going to, and players, some players, old and new, they, whether it's good or bad, people don't like how people change. But one thing I will say, Courtney, you have changed. You're great. You are great.
Thanks.
Have you, when you look at social media, have you ever thought about, because I'm seeing this more and more now with like ESPN, all the stations, are you going to start doing like a get ready with me?
I've never done a get ready with me. I've done like a day in the life sort of thing. And it's mostly just to like track my insanity for myself of like, why are you so tired all the time? Oh, well, here's why. But I don't know. Like, here's my problem. A lot of people edit those things on their phone.
Yep.
I have really long nails. It doesn't work for me. And I was also trained as a video editor back in the day. So for me, I need the linear sort of setup. I need to be on my MacBook. I need to be in Final Cut Pro, which I don't have anymore. Like, I don't do this life anymore. So like, I don't know. I'm not on TikTok. I wouldn't know how to do any of it. All I do is Instagram. So maybe one day, if somebody wants to sponsor me for that, I would. But like that, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into those things that I personally just do not have.
So I have been in the gym before and I've seen you guys come on TV. I'll say this, Courtney, like there's a lot of people wondering who Courtney Cronin is. Cause I think a lot of people didn't realize you're the same person from Minnesota, here in Minnesota, at least. Sure. I don't know nationally. How are your DMs? Like, you don't have to say who, but I'm pretty sure your DMs are popping.
Yeah, they're it's a wild place, Ron. Like, people are going to say what they want to say. Most people, I'll give people the benefit of the doubt. Most people keep it respectful. There's always just some wild stuff though, that I'm just like, okay, you took the time to send this. Okay. That is wild, but it's not, I don't stay in my DMs. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like I'm not like sifting through all that nonsense. I look, sometimes it's hilarious. Okay. And actually sometimes people have like, posed questions like that. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thing. Like, somebody will ask something about a team or, an opinion that I had on a show or on radio. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like they're listening. So it's good when you can see it's reflective of more than just like, crazy comments or whatever. And people are actually like, locked into your content. But yeah,
has there ever been a time though when like somebody shot their shot and you couldn't believe it was that person?
Yeah, a couple times. But like, I mean, I don't know. DMs are weird. Like it's weird.
It's life now though. Like that's.
Yeah, Yo Gotti was ahead of his time, man. Like, he knew it went down in the DM. And I just try to keep it. I try to keep everything above board. Safer that way. You don't have to sign a prenup if you do that. You keep everything above board.
Because I recently was at training camp and I got a chance to sit down with Diana Rossini. And so her and I caught up at training camp and we had her on the show. And it was just funny because she remembered, like, we met, I forgot when. This was like maybe when she just got engaged or something. So we had met a long time ago underneath the tunnel, at US Bank Stadium. And we were just talking about that time for her being single. Mm-hmm. Before she got it, or not single, but not married.
Sure.
And how like you have to be very strategic, I guess, in the people you allow to like actually converse with you, because you don't want it to become one of those weird where people just assume, okay, everybody can shoot their shot, everybody can say whatever they want. So that's what I always wonder because it's like for me, people that shoot their shot in my DMs are people that think I'm Ron Johnson, the senator from Wisconsin. So it's more people like literally mad at me. or telling me like I need to change the laws in Wisconsin. And I'm like,
they can't tell the very obvious difference here.
No, they can't. One lady, and I'm not joking, her name is really actually Karen. I'm debating if I screenshot some of this. This lady is crazy. She is crazy. Like and I've actually responded to her too. And I'm like, you can see I'm black. Like, I don't understand why you don't. And like every time something happens in the world, she like just fires. I did block one lady the other day because she kept sending me these weird videos. But yeah, they just assume I'm this guy from Wisconsin. So they get mad at how I voted. And I'm like, I'm not in the, like, I wasn't there. Like, I didn't vote at any of this. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, you can change the gun laws. I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
If you had that kind of power, Ron, you shouldn't be doing this podcast.
I know. I wish I could go on the Senate floor and vote, because I would have legalized marijuana a long time ago. Not because that's what I love to do, but I think that there is a actual, like Calvin Johnson, which you know that story now. Like, I've talked to him. I've talked to guys like Braylon Edwards. You know, a lot of these guys that are dealing and struggling emotionally, frontal lobe stuff. It seems like marijuana is working for them. You know, and there's some guys, I won't mention names, but we'll talk off air about this, but you just see it and you're just like, man, what is going on? You know? And so I am thankful. I tell the Vikings this all the time. I probably told you this years ago. Being out of football, you get depressed, but being able to do this job, you know, I'm thankful to all the organizations that allowed me to still be around the team, go to the games. It puts you back in the moment, you know, like you get to reconnect with people. You don't lose. You don't feel like you're out on this island by yourself. You know,
For sure.
Family helps, but I think even guys with families, we see all these stories now of guys being depressed. So I just always am thankful for that and wondered that. But yeah, no, I have no voting rights, people. So I am not Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, the senator. That is not me. I am black. He is white. He is 87 years old, probably, or 90. I am 45. So I don't know why, but yeah, every time something happens in the world, my DMs blow up for that reason. And it's so funny, even the tweets. People tweet at me, which is even funnier. And then you see the Vikings fans that like tweet at those people. Like, you do realize that's not the same person, right? Like, I'm like, do you think that the white guy from Wisconsin will put a black guy as his avatar? No, definitely wouldn't. But Courtney, I got to ask you one more question before we get to the hot seat. So when you think about your next, you know, steps within ESPN, or if you could pick what you wanted to do, like what is on Courtney Cronin's like short list of like, here's what's next for me?
You know, I think it would be really cool to host a 5-day-a-week show. I've gotten a little taste of it. I've done First Take, I've done Get Up, I've done NFL Live a bunch of Around the Horn over the last 18 months, I would say, maybe a little bit longer than that, in the host chair, not just as an analyst. So I think that would be something I think would be really cool to add to what I'm already doing, and maybe even transition into a role like that one day. Because I do think being a journalist, I want to like that brings credibility to the table. If you've been in locker rooms, if you've covered games on deadline, if you've talked to coaches and players in like some of their worst moments as athletes and as people, and you can bring that empathy, nuance, knowledge, all of that to the table and be able to guide a conversation. So I enjoy that part. Like, that's what I think would be among the things I'd love to do as a more full-time role.
Have you been on a show with, was it Kimberly Martin?
I have.
Okay. I'll have to text you guys at the same time when you're on the show next time. Like, I ended up in a random group chat with Kimberly Martin. I don't even know how I got there.
The NFL world, we're all like a degree separated from each other.
Yeah, her and I met, and then somehow like Chad Steele, who's the Ravens. So Chad was my guy. So he texted me something about Kimberly Martin that he saw on, like, we were at the Vikings game together. He texted her, then he copied me, and then all of a sudden her and I met in the press box. You know, so just one of those random, like, how do you know Chad? You know,
that's cool.
Yeah, so now like I'm in some random chat where I get like these weird, like if I do something or something happens to the Vikings, like it's my fault or something. So yeah, no, it was
with the gun laws apparently and everything.
Clearly, so it's a small world. But you know, thinking about people like Kimberly Martin, Elle Duncan, is there somebody in that group that's really like you felt like took you under their wing?
I think Hannah Storm, I've gotten a chance to work with her very closely this summer. She's great. And I think she is, I mean, there's some really good people, Elle being one of them. Elle has put a lot of people on at ESPN, like, and she's got, you know, a very good thing going. She's a great like resource. I think she's never she's not a gatekeeper, which I think some people, when you get to a level of success, they gatekeep. But like when you watch her bring along the next generation, I think that's really inspiring and really cool to do. Laura Rutledge is like that. She's incredible to work with. I've obviously worked with her in different capacities on NFL Live, and I've enjoyed it. It's like because now you get to the age like where I'm at right now in my mid 30s, where you can start bringing along the next, like you start lending a hand to, like you have enough expertise, enough knowledge of how the game works, where you can start bringing along the next crew, the next version of yourself potentially. And it's cool. I really enjoy getting to do that and getting to like be in that space. And
if you get invited to the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift wedding, are you going?
Yeah. I don't think I'm on the short list. I heard it's an intimate affair. I don't know either of them, but I'll send a gift. I'll send a gift and see if I can at least like get a thank you note or something.
And are you a Taylor Swift fan? Like, do you listen to her music?
No, I'm not. But I mean,
okay, you're not a Swiftie.
I'm not. She's immensely talented.
Okay.
But that's just like not my kind of music. But I more power to her and more power to them. They seem happy. Just hopefully the Chiefs don't lose games, because you know what's going to be coming. If that happens, they're like, oh, he's too focused on his wedding and like all this other nonsense. But no, they seem like they are doing just fine without my support.
Yeah, Shake It Off was the only one I knew. I didn't even know that was Taylor Swift's song. I just used it in softball games. And so, yeah, Shake It Off, I think it's a Taylor Swift song. I hope it's a Taylor Swift song.
It is.
Okay.
It is. I know that one. I know that.
Because that was the one. Yeah, that was the one I would constantly play. But after a short pause, we'll be back. We're going to put Courtney Cronin on the hot seat before we get out of here. All right, CC. So now we're putting you on the hot seat. So first question. Who's got more to prove this year? J.J. McCarthy or Caleb Williams?
So I go back to what we talked about at the top of the show, where JJ has been in an offense for more than a year now, the same one, and it's his first shot at being a regular season starter. Caleb is now in a different offense, but has 17 games of regular season experience under his belt. I think because of what was done this offseason, the Bears made a clear omission of guilt, so to speak, of look, we kind of put you in a bad spot as a rookie. The coaching staff was not good. The offensive line was not good. We didn't do enough to help you. Now we've done everything to help you. Got the coach that you wanted. We got we flipped the interior of the offensive line, which was a weak link. We got you new pass catchers. Top 2 picks in the draft were spent on, weapons for you. Now it's on you. So I think it's Caleb. I think that Caleb's got more to prove than JJ McCarthy, because JJ, some people will say, oh, he's a rookie. Like, I find that annoying when it's like, no, he's not a rookie, guys. Like he may not have the experience because he was injured all of last season, but he's not a rookie. We never said that same thing with Jordan Love. So we're going to keep that same energy with JJ McCarthy now that he's starting in his second season. But I think it's Caleb, just based on how last season went, the promise of being, all that comes with being the number 1 overall pick. And additionally, this team has not had a franchise quarterback in our lifetimes. They really haven't. They have not drafted and developed one. So I think that makes him the easy answer.
Who's got more pressure on them this season? Proven head coach Kevin O'Connell or the new guy, Ben Johnson?
I think it's Kevin O'Connell for the sake of, can you do it a third time? Right? Like we did this with the Green Bay Packers. Can you do it a third time? Like with the next quarterback, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and then Jordan Love. Can Kevin O'Connell work his magic that he did in revitalizing Kirk Cousins' career, getting a 14-win season out of Sam Darnold, and now doing it with the guy that they chose? They chose him, JJ McCarthy. And that's the reason that Sam Darnold's somewhere else. And obviously Darnold had his choice of where he wanted to go. But you need to develop the next guy, because you could have stayed. In theory, they really could have stayed with Sam Darnold had they wanted to go that route. They chose not to. So Kevin O'Connell's going into this with JJ. That's my guy. I drafted him. We traded up to go get him in the first, to move up a little bit to get him in the first round. Can you show that it's more than just like that your system is truly quarterback proof, that you can put anybody in here, that you can develop any quarterback? And I know he's done that. So I don't feel like he has to prove that part again, but the consistency element here, knowing that, the contract extensions for him, for Kwesi, all those things match up now to where you got to a 14-win season last year. The bar is not going to be at 10 now. The bar is going to be right up there, and to consistently get there year after year, I think it puts a lot of pressure on him.
Season doesn't go well. Who's more at risk? Ryan Poles or kwesi-adofo-mensah?
So they both got contract extensions this offseason. Poles is now lined up with Ben Johnson, who's here through 2029. So I guess that would have been a 3-year extension. Kwesi got his extension, I want to say in like June, July, somewhere around then. It's hard to say because I don't feel like either team, if it goes poorly, would pull the plug and be like, you're out after a year, or a year after like the extensions. Because like most of I don't know when Kwesi's actually kicks in. I think it's next year it does. So I think honestly, Ron, I don't think either of them will be at risk of any sort of change, no matter what happens this year.
Well, you heard that, Vikings fans. Relax. Give it some time with JJ McCarthy. More likely to win the NFC North, Vikings or Bears?
I'd say Minnesota. I mean, look, they were a 14-win team a year ago. They've, a lot of the moves that they made mirrored what the Bears did this year. Offensive line, they go get, a new center. They get a new, a guard as well in there. The Bears got 3 different positions. Like, I think that they realized the importance of that. They have a better offensive line. And as we've seen in this division, play in the trenches matters. And you're going to have Micah Parsons now added to the mix here, where you better have some good line play if you want to keep these quarterbacks upright. I don't think there will be as much of a drop off. I've seen obviously different prognostications of, they can't be a 14-win team again. Maybe it's at the worst 9 or 10 wins, but I still think that if you're basing it on these two teams, the Bears have to figure out how does these players look in this offense? It was not instantaneous when he was in Detroit. It took them a while. They were, not a good team that first year until the back end of the season when they won all those games. And then it started kicking in a year into that or 2 years into that in 2023 when they went to the NFC Championship game. So I think the Bears have probably a year before it feels comfortable. The Vikings are in a much different position right now if they were to win the NFC North. But I don't think either team is. I still think it's I think it's Green Bay and then I think it's the Lions.
Oh, okay. Because I think Diana Rossini had the Lions last in the NFC North. Well, Kyle Brandt had the Bears first. So it's people all over the place.
He drinks the Kool-Aid a lot. I know that's his team. So stand on business if that's what you want. But the Lions, are we really we're giving coaching that much credit? Okay.
Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson left. I think a lot of people wonder, is Dan Campbell the guy that he says he is, or was this Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn working their magic? We'll find out, because I think Brian Flores is 0-4 versus Ben Johnson since being defensive coordinator and Ben Johnson being offensive coordinator with the Lions. So Monday night, Ben Johnson gets his chance, Brian Flores gets his chance, and we'll see. So speaking of that, close games, I don't think it matters. If it's a 1-point, 2-point game, field goal to win the game, Will Reichert marches out there and kicks the hearts in. JJ McCarthy goes out there and does the discount double check and says you have a new daddy now because Aaron Rodgers has moved on. Do you think if it's a blowout, so either the Vikings get blown out or the Bears get blown out, one of their offenses looks absolutely terrible, or one of their defenses looks absolutely, which fan base is more likely to lose their marbles, the Vikings or the Bears in a blowout loss?
I think just knowing both fan bases, it's Minnesota. Because that's hard. You're a 14-win team a year ago. You don't expect to take a step back from that, especially when you had a quarterback who was here for a flash in the pan and now gone somewhere else. Not saying Bears fans are rational by any means. I don't think fans are, but there is this idea that Ben Johnson has been putting out there, pump the brakes. It might look ugly for the first couple of weeks, first month or so of the season. But I think Vikings fans, just given where last season ended off, would be perturbed if it's a blowout or something like that.
And last one before we get out of here. So you got a lot of good names on these sidelines. You got Antoine Randall, my guy, Big Ten guy, receiver. We were in the same draft class in the NFL, played against each other for 4 years. Indiana, Minnesota. You got him. You got Dennis Allen. You got Brian Flores. And then the other name you said, who's the offensive coordinator for the Bears?
Declan Doyle is the offensive coordinator.
Doyle. Yep. So of those 4, who's the likeliest to be a future head coach?
I honestly think that Randall is a great candidate here. So he's the assistant head coach and wide receivers coach for the Bears. And he was, Ben Johnson's called him his blankie, security blanket, because he's been with him, now for a number of years. He's his eyes and ears, and you don't give somebody the assistant head coach title if you don't really, really lean on that person, not just for, being able to take stuff off your plate, but for knowledge, for, shooting ideas around with. And he's a high energy guy. He can command a room. He's experienced. Obviously, he has the pedigree. He's worked with a lot of different receivers. He's won a Super Bowl. He's done so much in this league that I think maybe it's not jumping from like the role he's in now to head coach. I think he'll be an offensive coordinator in the not too distant future.
Okay. Well, there you heard it from Courtney Cronin. I'm Ron Johnson. It's been the Ron Johnson Show special edition with my girl Courtney Cronin. Looking forward to Monday night. We'll see if any of her predictions come true. We hope it's JJ McCarthy having a big night and Caleb Williams going home to paint his nails black and doing what emotional guys do. We don't know what's going to happen. Courtney, by the way, did you see the picture that somebody put? They put Caleb Williams' face on Prince on a motorcycle.
Amazing. Did not see that, but I am not surprised because the internet's undefeated.
And they said that's going to be Caleb Williams when he after he loses to the Vikings, because that's the scene where Apollonia and Prince is in the rain and he's sad. So yeah, I was like, that was and the face matches because he's light skinned like Prince. So it took me a minute to even realize that it wasn't just Prince. Yeah, I thought it was just Prince and they were making a joke. And I'm like, wait, they actually put his face in there and like AI'd it up and it was perfect. So hopefully he's riding that purple motorcycle out of the stadium sad on Monday night. And I don't have a rough night because hearing a bunch of people cry about the Vikings and complain about the quarterback and then trying to go to bed at 1 a.m. sucks. Like, I can't do it. I'm going to say last one too. How do you handle that? Like what helps you get to bed after Monday Night Football?
I mean, it's hard to wind down from a game like that. And it's just, I guess it's just, you got to do it over the next day. And so it's like, you have to sleep at some point, but there's not a lot of sleep that happens after night games.
Right, because I got to get my daughter to the bus. So I'm like, I got to be up by 6 something. Her bus leaves at 7:23. So she's got to be up and dressed and fed and on the bus. So yeah, I got to find a way to just go to sleep. And I don't know if I'm going to do some nighttime tea. But again, I'm Ron Johnson. This has been the Ron Johnson Show. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to all the sponsors. And for those that continue to like, download, share, make sure you go on YouTube and use your email address to subscribe. You get all the updates, all the shows. And of course, on Instagram, you'll see Courtney's pretty face in a little bit because we're going to make sure to put some clips out there. I'm Ron Johnson, and have a great week.